Hello, and welcome to the week two, day two video lecture for 2210. We're going to discuss concepts like brevity, collective feedback, and revision for the final draft. Before finishing the final drafts of P1, you may be thinking, what is brevity? She said that before. And you might be thinking, how can I revise something to be shorter? Most importantly, you might be thinking, what exactly is the correct format for different document types? Basically, brevity is cutting out the crap and getting to the heart of what you want to say. Because the writing in this class is about action, I show you what brevity is by doing. Review the email, memo, and letter in understanding concepts. I revised each of these document types with brevity in mind. I've thought to myself, how can I take this first draft and make it more succinct? Brevity is, in a way, freeing. You can be direct while still being kind and using the tone that's appropriate for the audience and situation. This may help you in your everyday life too. Get to the point. Everybody wants you to get to the point. What is collective feedback? We're going to discuss that because if you have not taken a PTC or English course at USF before, you might not have come across collective feedback yet. So in lieu of individualized comments on each draft, I'll offer a collective feedback file or a CFF, and this will be accessible to everyone via the modules on Canvas. My comment on the CFF will give an overview of grading issues and strengths I saw across all submissions. Reviewing this CFF is integral to your success in the final draft stage. The CFF is about taking personal responsibility for your rough draft and carefully and deliberately considering what revisions are needed. Although I don't comment specifically on your rough or final draft, I do offer substantive feedback in the summative stage, meaning when you complete short exercises, you will see how I feel about your assignment from the individual text-based comments I offer to you. Additionally, when I grade a draft, I pull up the rubric from the assignment guidelines, the one you can access that says how I will grade your draft. If you review this next to your draft, you'll understand how you received some of the scores that you received cumulatively. You will understand some of what I meant about your tone, design, writing style, and more from the rubric and from the CFF. It's just not offered to you in the individualized comments that you may be used to in other English courses. For all PTC courses, rough and final drafts of major projects do not receive individualized comments. Instead, you are offered comments via the CFF, and then you must access the CFF while looking over your rough draft on one side of your screen with the CFF open on the other. And you get to decide what changes should be made based on these suggestions. This places the burden of revision entirely on the student, and not everyone's comfortable with that. However, this is what it's like to work in a professional environment. A superior or a colleague will hardly ever take you aside to tell you specifically what you did right and what you did wrong. This is due to a lack of time or because they think that you're capable of navigating mistakes and learning from them. In a real professional environment, your boss or your colleague is merely going to note the quality of your work and they're going to move on with you having to figure out things on your own. Without throwing you into the lion's den, I am offering you feedback just in the form of the CFF. You submitted your rough draft, and now it's time to revise that draft so it can be the best version of your writing thus far. Revision should be done ideally in stages. When I have to revise, I do so using Google Docs because I can access that from my phone. And maybe this works for you and maybe not. However, you should strive to revise for bigger picture concerns like genre and tone. Then go for a walk. Watch a movie. Return to your draft to proofread for smaller concerns like grammar or the design of the document. Before you start revising, know that for project one, I want to see your messy changes. Your final draft should look like the sample on the screen. Maybe it'll have more markup or maybe it'll have less markup, but I should be able to see what you revised and you proofread. If you go to the rubric for the final draft of project one and you look at the point breakdown, you'll see it's worth 25 or to 30 points. You showing me the revisions and having substantive revisions. If I can't see your revisions already, you're at a C for the assignment. The password for the day 2 assignment for week 2 that requests it is on the screen. Enter the correct password so you get the full range of points for week 2 and the day 2 assignment that asks for the password. Why did I go back? Or maybe I didn't. Oh, because you have to upload the final draft to USF Writes, it's going to be converted to a PDF no matter what you do. So when you're commencing your revision changes, you have to do this in a manual way. So when you have to add something, use a different text color like red or dark blue. And when you want to delete something, use strike through. After this, I'm going to show you what that means. If you have to make minor design changes that you can't really show me, that's okay. Just make those changes. You can submit the final without any visible changes. However, the final is not about completing the assignment. It's about what have you done to revise and proofread for the text and for the design of the documents. If I can't see those changes, it's going to make my job harder because I'll have to look at your old version and your new version. I don't want to do that for 100+ drafts. And because you've made it harder and you didn't adhere to the assignment guidelines and the rubric, your grade will reflect your lack of following directions and the lack of work shown. You you are a hard worker and you want that work to count. I know that because you signed up for a summer course. So show me the changes on your draft. Now let's look at the day 2 assignments and I'll even show you what I mean by manual changes to a draft. So let's hop to it. So the day 2 assignments include one thing. First, you should access the collective feedback file by clicking instructor feedback. And soon this will be available for you. It'll be a PDF that you just can scroll through and have it open alongside your draft so you can review the possible changes that may or may not apply to you. And you go through your draft and you say, okay, I can fix this, or that doesn't apply to me, or that might apply to me, and I'm going to do these sorts of changes. So do that so that you can submit the final draft. Before you do anything to the draft, you've gone over the CFF. But as you do that, you're going to make those manual changes I was talking about. And you're only doing that because when you upload your draft to USF Writes, it converts your document to a PDF. So if you use something like Track Changes, which automatically shows changes and it's super easy to show additions and deletions. Yes, I get that it does that. I love it too. But when you upload it here, it's going to look like you did nothing. It's going to flatten those visual changes and your document will just look black and white. It's not going to show me the red markups or the deletions. I don't know why it does that, but it does that. So that your changes are locked in, you have to do a little bit more work. Yes, but you're going to show me your changes. And that means changing to a new font color like red, or I don't know, something that won't kill my eyes. And then when you're going to show me, and so that's when you're going to add something new to your document, use a new font color so I can see the additions. When you want to delete something, use something called strike through. So that is highlighting something you meant to delete, clicking strike through, and it's going to put a strike through it. I'm going to take off track changes. But you can use track changes throughout your entire document. But when you do that, I suggest that you take a screenshot of it. Like you see this little box right here is a screen grab of this document. And save that screen grab, make it bigger, put it in Paint, put it in Microsoft Word, I don't know, and save that as a PDF, because that will lock in all those manual changes that you did with track changes. Additionally, I want to see that each document looks like a professional document and it doesn't just look like a comp essay that you're submitting. So that's why after you've taken care of all the revision parts, design is part 2. So a memo should look like a memo and an email should look like an email. You don't have to use Gmail or whatever email platform you're using, but you can. I've seen students do that. They do all their manual changes, and if you copy and you paste it onto something like this, they're going to still show up, and you could screen grab, and that could be your first document included in your revision, and you crop it and you make it look nice so that you have your email showing, you have the design elements there. Yay, you did it. That's an optional thing. Mostly for design of an email, I want to see that you separated the sections out and it's not just a one block of text. You want to avoid that. I can clearly see there's a beginning, middle, end. There's a salutation. There's a sign off. Maybe other formal things depending on who the audience is. Those sorts of things for an email. For a memo, there should be some kind of header there. Oh, I don't know why it's doing that. Whatever, we'll keep that. So for a memo, I should see something like this, where there is intent for a header in the left-hand side and a separation from your memo text. I shouldn't see dear so-and-so. I shouldn't see a sign off because memos don't have anything like that. You want to create a memo? Well, Microsoft Word will help you out. If you type in memo, it'll pull up a bunch of different ones that you could try out. The cleaner the style, the better. If it looks super fancy or it's got flowers in it, whatever, is that really what you would send to your boss? Probably not. So you shouldn't pick it for this assignment either. But say you pick this one because it's really simple. Memo. What you can do is you can make all your changes or whatever that you need to do. You copy and paste it here, and that could be one of your choices as well. And remembering that you shouldn't have 3 of the same document type. So I shouldn't see 3 emails. I shouldn't see 3 memos or 3 letters. For this permutation, for this example, we have an email. We'll just pretend this is a memo. And then the third one is also a memo. But for all of them, I should be able to see your manual red strike through changes. And you're going to input the correct password somewhere on the document. At the top is great. And you're going to save it as a PDF. And you're going to upload it to, where are we at? You're going to upload it to USF Writes. if you anticipate that you can't submit it on time before the due date passes, use this late pass. The late pass offers you, without you having to explain anything to me, 3 days for you to have basically not an exemption, for you to have an extension. You start the assignment by just typing in which assignment you want to apply it to, final draft of project 1. Great. That's all I need to know, that for that project draft, you need 3 extra days. But again, if you submit this late pass and it's way past those 3 days and it's way past the due date, like a week out, this does not apply to you. It only applies to a draft or an assignment if you submit your intent to use the pass before the due date passes. So keep that in mind. If you want to know the rubric for this assignment is there, how I will allocate the points. That is basically it for week 2. If you have any questions, please reach out. And until next time, when we talk about the collaborative report, the group report for project 2.